No one ever achieves anything of greatness being 1 foot in. The grass is greener where you water it. So why don't people stick to their commitments, and why don't people make big commitments that are going to help their life? Primarily comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the work involved, and then a sunk cost fear. You know, what if I put all of this work in and I make this commitment and I work so hard and it doesn't happen? Fear is the main driver behind people's lack of commitment. The other reason is that we live in an instant gratification society. You can go down to the local sports bar and go to the gaming machines and get an instant hit of dopamine. You can use drugs, you can drink alcohol, you can stare at your phone screen and swipe the 6-second dopaminergic videos for hours at a time. It's so easy in the society that we live in to get short-term highs and short-term happiness. Committing to something that has delayed gratification becomes more difficult. So you've got to ask yourself, what's the benefit of becoming someone who can commit? The first benefit is that committing to everything becomes easier, whether that's saving money to buy your first home, going to the gym regularly, sticking to a new hobby like learning to play an instrument or gardening or surfing. You're actually crafting an identity of becoming someone who can commit to the things they say they're going to commit to. So it pours into every other part of your life. The second benefit of becoming someone who can stick to a commitment is that the ups and downs don't hurt. If you commit to not quitting, whatever that thing might be, whether it's a business goal, a personal goal, a financial goal, every setback simply just becomes part of the journey, right? As mentioned in one of my earlier videos, those failures or those setbacks simply become a speed bump on the path up the mountain to success, rather than a cliff face that you drive off of and fall into the chasm of despair. The third benefit of crafting an identity and becoming someone who sticks to their commitments is that you can stay strategic and logical. You avoid what if thinking. You know, what if it doesn't work out? What if I get there and it doesn't feel as good as I thought it was going to? What if I put in all this work and it was for nothing? When you're able to actually plant 2 feet in and commit to a goal, it means that you can stay logical in the plan towards that goal. So now you're probably asking yourself, what do I need to do to become someone who can stick to a commitment? First of all is you need to make a decision. That's the hardest part by far. But once you've made a decision about something that you want, whether it's starting your first business or purchasing a home or whatever that might be, you make a concrete commitment and a decision that that's what you want, everything flows far more easily from there. So you've got to spend some time really soul searching here and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need to commit to in pursuit of that idealized version of my life? You know, you really need to spend the most time thinking and experiencing and feeling what it is that you want deeply. The second thing that you have to do is that once you've made that commitment, you need to tell the 5 people you trust most that you've made that commitment. At the start of the year in 2024, I told Barrett, my business partner and mentor, Francesca, my partner, my mum and my dad, and another really close friend of mine that I was going to quit drinking for the year. And I managed to stick to it. Quite often we're very quick to let down and forgive ourselves for missing our commitments. You know, we sleep in and don't go to the gym, and that little voice in your head says, oh, that's okay, no worries, we'll go tomorrow. But if you tell every single one of your family members that you're starting a 75 hard challenge and that you can't miss either workout, your 4 liters of water, or your 10 pages a day for the next 75 days, not only are they going to check in on you regularly with how your progress is going, when you eventually have to come to them and say, oh, you know, I missed a session and I broke my commitment, the fear of having to have that conversation will often drive you into action. You know, we're very quick to let ourselves down, but we don't want to let down the people around us. So again, step 2 is tell 5 people you love that you've made that commitment. The third step in setting and following through on a commitment is that you've got to check in on that commitment daily. Whether you've got a little post-it note on the back of your door, on your window, it's the background on your phone, an alarm that goes off every day to remind you to check in on it. Have that note that says what your commitment is, what it's going to take to achieve that, and why you want it. So a real why, what, and how within that goal, and that will attune your reticular activating system to sticking to that commitment that day. And the fourth and final thing with any commitment, which is really helpful, it's not available to everyone. You might be pursuing a bit of a hero's journey and you might not have anyone else around you, but wherever possible, find a running partner. Find someone else who is as committed as you are, who's made that commitment, who can hold you accountable, who you can compete with, you know, you can healthily compare yourself to, who can support you because you're both going through similar challenges. Is find someone who you have a good relationship with, who's also made either the same or a similar commitment that you can have as a running partner, who can check in with you and you can check in on them. But overarchingly, guys, becoming someone who can know what they need to commit to, why they need to commit to it, and setting and following through on that commitment is a massive, massive predictor of people who will be successful, not only in business, but also in life.